that companies can find out their maximum profit and minimum cost. All right, and what it says is that once you have graphed your region, if you put in your vertices, you can determine your minimum cost or your maximum profit. All right, so it also says that one of your vertices will be your max or min amount. So that's why those 3 points are really crucial. So we have to figure out what those points are and determine what we have found. All right, so the first thing we always want to do is we want to identify the variables. So I'm going to read you this and then we're going to figure out what we're talking about. It says, first of all, does everyone have one of these?
Yeah.
Dylan, did you get one? Okay. Just set that aside for right now and then we'll take care of it in a second. Okay, it says that a potter is making cups and plates. It takes 6 minutes to make a cup and 3 minutes to make a plate. Each cup uses 3/4 pounds of clay and a plate uses 1 pound of clay. She has 20 hours available to make her stuff and 250 pounds of clay. She makes a profit of $2 a cup and $1.50 a plate. How many cups and plates should she make in order to maximize her profit? All right, so we want to know, how can she make the most money? All right, so what are the 2 things we're talking about? Cups and plates. So we are going to say that X is going to be our cups and Y will be our plates. Now, on tonight's homework, because cups are, I alphabetized them, if you do cups and then plates, if you do your X to be whatever it is in alphabetical order, yours will always look like mine. If you don't, you'll still get probably the same answer, but you will not be able to compare it to mine. So if you want to always compare it to mine, I am always going to alphabetize, just so you know. All right? All right, so now it says to write a system. We have 2 variables, so we need to have how many equations? 2. So I will also tell you that at the first, you do not want to worry about the profit sentence. So we're going to profit or cost sentence. So we're going to pretend that that doesn't exist until the end. All right, so it takes 6 minutes to make a cup. So for every cup, it's 6 minutes. So that will be our 6x. It takes 3 minutes to do a plate. So what's that going to be? 3y plus 3y. How many, so these are minutes. So how many minutes does she have? Well, she has 20 hours. So how can I convert 20 hours, 20 times 60, which gives you 1,200 minutes. Very good. All right. All right. Now, this is her work. Her work has to be less than or equal to the 1,200 because she can't do more. She could do less, but she can't do more. She doesn't have any more time. All right. Then we have to go to our next one. It says each cup uses 3/4 pounds of clay. So we have 3/4 x. Each plate uses 1 pound. So that means we have plus 1y. How much clay do we have? 250. Again, this is what we need. So this has to be less than or equal to 250. To do a complete system, hopefully you guys realize we're always going to be in the first quadrant. To make sure we're in the first quadrant, we're going to say that our x's are going to be greater than 0 and our y's are going to be greater than 0. All right, that is my system. Yep, because these two are just keeping it bounded to the quadrant 1. That's the only thing that does, is bounds it to quadrant 1. Yep. It's just like it can't have negative money. So now we have here, what we have to do is we have to graph these two equations. All right. So we have 6x plus 3y is equal to 1200. Now, I know a lot of you like to go and put it in the y equals mx plus b, solve it out. In this section, you really can't do that. You can, but it's too much. So what you need to do is you need to do a t-chart, and you need to find x is 0 and y is 0. Zero times 6 is 0. So I can literally cover that up, because 6 times 0 is 0. So how now, what can we do? Divide by 3, and I get 400. Was one of my students. We have here, if I put in 0, 3 times 0 is 0. So I have 6x is equal to 1200. Divide, so I would have in your calculator or in your head, 1200 divided by 6, 200. So, and that's a 200. Because we are only sketching, we're only using the graph to find out where it is shaded and stuff. We don't have to make sure that it's exactly accurate. So we are going to say, I'm going to say 0, 400 is about right here. And I'm going to label this as 0, 400. So anything above 400 I'll put up here, anything below 400 I'll put down there. And then I have 200, 0. So I'm going to say this point right here is 200, 0. Because we're only sketching. It's not that we have to have it graphed completely correct. All right. Yeah. The reason why I placed it closer this way is because I figured since this is 400, I'd probably say about 400 probably there. So 200. So.
Is there like a step 5 or 6?
Well, there's actually, when I taught I taught advanced, I made them do 9 steps, so I forgot to, because I took some out for you guys, so I forgot to renumber that, sorry. I didn't even see it. Yep. Alright, so, yeah, so because if you think about it, if this is 400, that's about 200. Because I said that this was 400. I just said it. Because if you think about it, if I wanted, this is still out. We can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Divide 400 by 11, and that's what you're going up by. It's not like, it doesn't really matter. We're just sketching. All right. Now we have 3/4 x plus 1y is equal to 250. Now I will tell you that fractions are usually a problem, and it usually is difficult for you guys. So let's get rid of them. How can I get rid of the 3/4? What can I multiply by? 4. So I have to multiply everything by 4. So I'm going to multiply this. If I multiply this by 4, I get 3x. If I multiply 1 by 4, I get 4y. And 250 times 4 is 1,000. Oh yeah. We want to know what line it is. Again, I want you guys to put in zeros in there and see if you can get the 2 points. Hannah, what's my first point?
I don't like being put on the spot.
But don't start talking then when I'm asking you to do something. So that was disrespectful, so it's the same thing. What'd you get?
Like
30. You got 333.33?
Yeah.
Yep. So we have here, you put in 0. So you go 3 times 0 gives you 0. 4y is equal to 1,000. So you divide by 4. So 1,000 divided by 4 gives me, not yet, that's the next one. That should be 250, yeah. Then 0, 4 times 0. So then we have here that's 0. So 3x is equal to 1,000. If you guys need to do it out, then you can do it. So you can go. Oh, thank you. And then divide it by 3. So you get 333.3. All right. So we have 0, 250. 0 and 250. So if this is 400, 250 is probably about right there. Doesn't really matter because we're just sketching. If this is 200, that means 300 is over here. All right. Remember that our stuff that we started with has to be less than here. If you think about it also, if you can pick a point like 0 and see if it's true. 0 plus 0 is 0. So is 0 less than 1,200? Yes. So that means we're shading here. So we're looking for our boundary points. What 3 points are our boundary? This is my first boundary point. So I have 0, 250. That's my first boundary point. My other boundary point is right here, 200, 0. My third boundary point, hopefully you realize, is where it crosses. How can I solve for where it crosses? This is like the whole thing that we've done this whole entire chapter. This is why we've done everything. Remember this, we're solving the system here. You have this, remember we have here, this equation is this one, this equation's that. So the two equations are 6x plus 3y is equal to 1,200. And the other one was 3x plus 4y is equal to your 1,000. If I have two equations, how can I find where they intersect? You can use substitution, linear combination. That's what you have to do. So we have here, what I would use is, I would use linear combination. I'm going to multiply this bottom by -2. So I'm going to bring down my top. So I have 6x plus 3y is equal to 1,200. 3 times -2 is -6x. I'm multiplying by, I forgot, -2. So -2 times 4, -8y. -2 times 1,000, -2,000. This is what that's what you took your quiz on, this part right here. That's what you did. Add them up. X is dropped out. We have here y is negative 5y is equal to negative 800. And then divide by, yep, we're giving the answer, yep, divide by your negative 5, y is equal to 160. Once we have y, we need x. So I have y, I'm going to go and find x. So I have good?
Yeah.
All right. And I used earlier, I'm going to just use the same one. I used the one that has this lower x, so I just used the 3. So I have 3x plus 4 times 160 is equal to 1,000. Um, 3x plus 640 is equal to 1,000. Subtract 640, 3x is equal to 360, x equals 120. So our third point right here is what? 120, 160 is right. So remember that linear programming says that the maximum profit is going to happen at one of these 3 vertices. Our last thing that we have to do is find out which one is it. How much profit are we going to make? It says she makes the profit of $2 per cup. So our profit, sorry, I'm going to try to see if I can squeeze this in. Yep. Yep, that's why you only got one of these. So we have here, it says that she makes the profit of $2. So the profit equals $2 a cup. So cups were X. And then it says that she makes $1.50 a plate. 1.5y. That's our profit. So now what do you think we got to do? You plug each of these 3, only these 3 points into here. So we plug in the first point. We have the first one. You have 2 times 0 plus 1.5 times 250. I'm going to actually put it over here. That gives me 375. Plug in my next one. So it's 2 times 120 plus 150 times 160 is equal to, plugging that into your calculator, 480. And the last one is 2 times 200 plus 1.5 times 0 is equal to 400. So we do have to, though, come back and say what we found. What did we find out? So what is the maximum profit? 480. So max profit is, no, it's the middle one, is 480. Max profit is 480. With, how many cups do we have to make? With 120 cups. And what do we have to make? 160 plates.
Couldn't you also kind of figure out, not guess, but kind of figure out what it is where the point is higher?
No, because this point,
That was already
what? Say it again. It's not always going to be here. Sometimes it's here, sometimes it's there, and sometimes it's there. It really is, surprisingly. I promise you. Yeah, because I've done it. If it was always that, then you wouldn't have it. You could just say where they cross. But because it does change, that's why you have to. All right. So I'm going to be giving you this other thing. So on the back side, ladies and gentlemen, is one for you to try. It's just like this, and it is long. If for some reason, eyes and ears, just for one more second, if you for some reason really struggle with this, on the paper that I'm going to be giving you too, what I want you to do is make sure you at least can do, if I give you a graph, can you graph it, find the points, and plug it in? If you can't, I also gave you a few just to plug and chug, just to make sure you understand that if it says max, you'll find the max one, and then you just have to start. I'm not making you write a whole point. Min one, you'll just start. So these are just plug and chugs, and this one is just, and then graphing on the back. This is just very quick. This is just to make sure that, because I was going to give you guys, I had two, but I actually cut it down, so